And we're
Are
live.
we live?
Yeah.
Oh, and we're live. Okay. Hi, everyone. This is another episode of Conscious Cravings with Gina and Nicole, and I am Gina Watkins.
Nicole Wagner here.
And yes, and today we are talking about self-love. And I'm going to read a little something, start by reading a little something from Louise Hay, who we love, and we've just been having many conversations about self-love, and so we thought we would bring it to you today. It is impossible to really love yourself unless you have self-approval and self-acceptance. This means no criticism whatsoever. I can hear all the objections right now. But I have always criticized myself. How can I possibly like that about myself? My parents, teachers, lovers always criticize me. How will I be motivated? But it is wrong for me to do those things. How am I going to change if I don't criticize myself? So what we've been talking about is that, self-criticism is such a, it's not just socially acceptable, like it's expected that we criticize ourselves because, one, if we don't criticize ourselves, then maybe we won't change, right? So like this last one, how am I going to change if I don't criticize myself? Like saying, like, if I don't say these mean things to myself, then I won't be motivated to change that. Then I'll forget that I want to change those things for myself.
Yeah.
And then also, right, if we don't criticize ourselves, then we might be too vain, or we might
leave ourselves open to criticism from others.
Exactly.
Let me do it first.
Yeah, that's like a whole nother one. Yes. Yeah.
Let me let you know how unacceptable I am to myself, and it's a protection.
Yeah. Let me get to me before you do.
Yes.
Bills. Yeah. And that's like that automatic, right? That subconscious reaction to just self-preservation. That's what our brain does, right? It's there to protect us from any sort of pain and suffering, any sort of harm. And so if we're already thinking, this thing like, oh, people are out to get us, right? We have to protect ourselves from other people. We don't want to get hurt. We don't want our feelings to get hurt. Yes.
Mechanism in our brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I love that excerpt so much. And I was making notes over here, even though we have read it ourselves already, but it hit me again as you were saying just that concept. And I'm just wondering if our viewers, how that sits as far as no criticism whatsoever. I feel like that
even for us, right?
I was just going to say, I
practice a day,
yes,
daily, teach it, talk about it. It's still like I could walk out to my car and criticize myself like 5 to 10 times.
Oh, absolutely. As we
not even know it, really.
Of our cameras and see our reflection, criticism. Right. They are, and already automatic. And it's about becoming present to, aware of what's happening automatically that's not serving us. And the other thing that really stood out to me is, but this thing is unlovable. And how many things can we think of? And it makes me, how many things can we think of that we do but Gina and Nicole, that thing is really unlovable. That secret eating, that binge the other night, going into the garbage to get out something that I had thrown away, that surely is unlovable. And the radical thing that we're offering is that even those actions be covered in love, just from a standpoint of compassion, curiosity around what is it that you need? What is it that I'm looking for? Where is this desperation going to be actually fed and finally satiated? And that whole process of inquiry is ignited and inspired by self-love.
Right. Right. And that's part of the, when we talk about like the crave tool, right? That's
Right.
part of that process of like, yeah, just like being able to, well, one, it's that connect, right? That connection to like between our mind and body, and like what's going on, what are we thinking right now, what are the thoughts that are coming up, and connecting that to our body, like what are we feeling, what are some of the sensations, what's our heart telling us.
Yes.
Yeah. And then if we are like, certainly this act or this behavior is unacceptable or unlovable, being able to just sort of say, okay, this is here, right? And working to release that that's unlovable, right? And being able to then bring those affirmations in.
Exactly. And I would say, and I believe you completely agree, that there's different levels of that connection, that first step of crave, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just a connection to the thing that's happening right now. I'm standing here, I've eaten, I've overeaten, I'm full, but I'm still going to get in my car and drive to get more food, because maybe that's the connection. Or maybe it's, I've done so well today, I'm feeling great about me, and then I saw a reflection that interrupted those good thoughts, and all of a sudden automatically switching on that awful mental chatter that can be so judgmental and detrimental. And maybe it's connection just at that moment of those thoughts that started happening, and connecting to releasing and that moment, and then releasing it, allowing what is. I'm disappointed by what I see right now, but
exactly, you're just calling it out.
That's
right?
it.
It's
Exactly.
like calling it out, just calling out, like being real with yourself, being
Yes.
like truthful with yourself about what's happening right now in the moment, just connecting to that and saying, okay, this is happening.
Yes.
And really, that's going to be something completely different than probably what you have been doing, which is covering up the emotions, covering up
not even acknowledging it.
Yeah, not even acknowledge. Yeah, like maybe even like that stage of like not even, maybe not acknowledging it, not even knowing.
Right.
Because we're so unaware, we're so in our automatic that we don't even know to like we're actually judging it.
Yes, and then the behavior that follows maybe later that night is a pint of Ben and Jerry's.
Sure.
Because of that one moment. But if there is that agreement that you make with yourself to slow down, connect, I'm disappointed by what I see in the mirror, and then follow those rest of the steps of crave, if that's the tool that's assisting you in that moment of releasing and then replacing the space that you've created by releasing.
And it could take a while, right? Like it's not all going to happen
in the 5-minute space.
Yeah, in all at once, but it's a practice, as we're all practicing. And sometimes we forget the steps, but that's why we get to just keep going back and keep, starting off from where we left off.
And I love the you've got some great questions as far as like asking ourselves from a place of love. And before you share those, one of the things that works for myself and for my clients is around kind of stepping back and asking from a place of, what would you do for your child, your best friend? Think of anyone that you love with that beautiful unconditional love. So think of a variety of relationships. What would you do? How would you be there to support them, love them? I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be the horrible, critical things that you say to yourself that I can say to myself, right? So that can be a wonderful tool too. And then on that thought, so to bring it into yourself.
Yes. I think that, well, that one question, I think I've said on this before, but it's like how can I love myself better today? Always that question of just tapping into a little bit. It doesn't have to be a big gesture, but just a little bit, but also to dig into that a little bit deeper, like really just kind of figuring out what that love is. Like, what does that mean? What does that look like? Like, what is this self-love? So like, what does love want? Or what does, I don't know, self-love wants, right? Like, what would love say? Like what would, and I think also it's just sort of digging in, like diving in a little bit deeper to describing that, because if we don't really know, like, oh yeah, self-love, there's all kinds of talk about self-love,
right.
and to be able to dig in, right, to be able to dig in a little bit deeper, so that we can actually know and feel it. So like, what would love feel, right? What would love feel like? What would love like even sound like?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think all of those, like kind of utilizing all of your senses to really feel into what would, how would you describe love? And maybe, that's it too for the viewers. It's like, ask yourselves these questions, like how about love, just to, like, what does love mean to you? What does self-love mean to you? What would that feel like to you? What would you be hearing if you were experiencing self-love? What would you be saying if you were experiencing self-love? Like, what would you be feeling? What would you be doing if you were experiencing self-love? And so just to diving in and playing with that, and maybe writing some stuff down, or just feeling into it, meditating around it. But to play with that, to explore more, and to get a little bit deeper inside of your own, right? Your own kind of inner wisdom.
Yes.
Instead of looking outside or reading books, or, I mean, of course, all of that is helpful.
Absolutely. But so key to that all mattering, to that all meaning something, to that welcoming a breakthrough, or just being a part of the journey of your own transformation, is this inquiry that we're inviting.
Yes.
And just the curiosity. And I love the questions that you posed for everyone today.
I think that's important, right? To just keep exploring.
Yep.
And that's what we're always inviting people to do here. And that's what we're doing. We're just exploring conversation and exploring different topics. And we'd love to hear from you about what you thought of this, and what this brought up for you, and what this made you think about for yourself in your own life. And maybe other things that you would like to talk about as well.
Love that. Beautiful. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Gina, thank you for hearing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. And we will be here again with another episode of Conscious Cravings with Nicole and Gina next week.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.